Hi, I'm Jeff Holman, Technical Director with ST&G USA Corporation. I'm going to talk about our new Glu-It product, which is available in a 220 milliliter size and a 50 milliliter size. We're going to talk about how to prepare your surface that you're bonding for a nice mechanical bond. So let's talk about surface prep. We have our socket. We have our component that we want to bond, but we also want to make sure it's clean. So the first thing we do is clean it with acetone. Wear gloves for this procedure. So we'll just dab the acetone on, make sure the surface is clean, especially the metal parts that you want to bond, because when they finish it, sometimes there's a film. For your socket, we just want to make sure it's clean, so we would apply the acetone, let it vapor off, get some sandpaper, and then rough up the surface. Now, one thing to note, if you have a metal part that is shiny, you just want to rough the surface up so that the adhesion is increased. So when you get your Glu-It tube, what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a dispenser available, because you do want equal parts of A and B. So we'll put it into the dispenser, and then we'll check the tip. Depending on how long you have it sitting on the shelf, you're going to want to make sure that it's not clogged. So we'll visually look at it. It does look like it's flowing, but let's say you're not certain. So we'll just clean it off. Get a nice little paper clip, and we're going to do one side at a time. Just poke it. Clean it. I've got acetone on this rag. Poke the other side. Okay, so let's put a new tip on. So with a new cartridge, what you're going to want to do is purge it a little bit. Make sure you have good mixture. So I'm going to do one pump. Make sure it's nice and mixed. That'll give us a chance to go ahead and have a nice, fresh mix coming out. On this, what I want to do is get some thickness and see how long it takes to set. Let's go and smoothen that out. We'll let that set and see how long it takes to harden. Let's talk a little bit about working time and cure time. So our Glu-It has a work time of 1 to 2 minutes. That means you can apply the product on your components, your socket, and that gives you 1 to 2 minutes work time to apply the component onto your socket or what have you. After that, the adhesive will start to cure up, and if it gets to a certain point, it may not bond properly. So that's the amount of time you have to actually work with the product. After that, it's going to go into a set time. And the set time can take up to 15 minutes. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your application, how much you apply. For example, this is about a 1/16 of an inch. It's been about 10 minutes. It's starting to get very hard. The 1/8 inch is very hard, and the one that's about 1/4 of an inch is really hard. So the thicker you have, the faster it'll go, the quicker it should kick off. So a good rule of thumb is check before you walk your patient. This one's been sitting for probably about 8 minutes. I would probably let it set a little bit longer. That gives me some time to set up my components, get my lengths, make sure I have all my socks, my sleeves, what have you, everything to set up. So let's look at the clingability and see how it clings. And also how firm it is. So let's put some on here. And you can see it's not sagging. It's actually holding up pretty well. So let's say our alignment is here. We want to bond that to this socket. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the adapter. And a little bit on the socket. Now I can go ahead and get a tongue depressor and smoothen that out. And then I'm going to apply a little bit more just to make sure that it's going to adhere. The other thing to note is that we teamed up with an adhesive manufacturer to come up with a compound that we believe is superior to most other compounds out there. Okay, so if you remember this, we bonded this component onto the socket, and the interesting note is the component's getting hot, and the glue is actually exotherming. So this is acting like a heat sink. So guess what? It might take a little longer for this to go ahead and cure properly. So keep that in mind. Here we had some plastic that we bonded. This is nice and hard. This is also thicker. So this is thinner, it's still a little tacky, so we need to let this wait a little bit longer to make sure that it cures. So again, take in consideration the thickness that you're bonding and make sure that it cures properly. So in closing, go ahead and give our product Glu-It a try. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, please give us an email at info@stng.com. That's info@st-ngco.com. Also, visit our website to look for any new exciting products and also updates in our instructions.